What's going on, guys? My name is Christopher and welcome to It's Complicated. It is a show where I talk about and showcase mostly mechanical wristwatches. Today I'm going to be telling you guys the story of how and why I ended up buying my first Rolex brand new in an authorized dealer. Here we go. So it all started out with me going to see my friend Dale, who is a jeweler, and he was rocking the original 6-digit two-tone bluesy sub. And I noticed it and I said, man, that is sharp, like to see it in person. Can I check it out? He let me check it out, and man, I just loved that watch. I loved the gold and the steel, and I loved that blue face. I liked how the ceramic bezel insert kind of lit up. I just didn't like those fat lugs, and I was never a fan of those fat 6-digit lugs. Then the 2020 Rolexes came out and they certainly thinned the lugs up. They also put the new 32-35 movement in the Submariners, and that idea, maybe you should go buy one of those two-tone bluesy Submariners, kind of went in my head. That idea stayed in my head and I kept putting money away and putting money away, and finally I was like, I do want to buy one of those 2020 two-tone bluesy Submariners. I felt comfortable enough to spend the money on a two-tone bluesy Rolex Submariner, so I started seeing what kind of price I could get on one. And to my surprise, the 2020 two-tone bluesy Submariner was selling for over retail price. So I ended up reaching out to a friend of mine overseas and I told him, how is the two-tone bluesy Submariner selling for over retail right now? The original 6-digit isn't really selling for over retail, but the 2020 is selling for over retail. And he said, that's just the market right now. You got to deal with it. So if I wanted to get one at a fair price, I would have to walk into a Rolex authorized dealer and buy one brand new. Well, I've never purchased a Rolex inside an authorized dealer brand new. One of the authorized dealers around here, they do sell them secondhand, but they sell them at market price. So a lot of the ones they have secondhand are more money than they are brand new in the case, if you can find one in the case, which you usually cannot. And don't forget, if you're going to go inside an authorized dealer and buy one brand new, especially one that is hot on the market, you are definitely going to pay sales tax. And I also thought to myself, if I wanted to buy a brand new Rolex inside an authorized dealer that's selling for over retail price on the gray market, I'd have to find an authorized dealer that would even sell me said watch to begin with. So the next step would be to get on the list, as it's known as. So I did ring a couple of authorized dealers in my area and asked to be put on the list. One of the authorized dealers didn't really sound too interested in putting me on this list. They asked if I lived in the area. They wanted to make sure I wasn't going to flip the watch or whatever, but they did mention that the two-tone bluesy Submariners are pretty hard to come by and that they just sold one not that long ago and they had other people waiting to buy them, etc. The other authorized dealer I spoke with, they were very matter-of-fact with everything. They did get my name, number, and they also wanted to make sure I lived in the area, so I wasn't going to flip anything on the gray market. But they were pretty much matter-of-fact and just said, hey, have a nice day. We'll call you when and if one becomes available. Not too long after talking to those guys, I get out of the shower, I go to check my phone, and I got a voicemail on there. They have exciting news for me. My new two-tone bluesy Submariner is available to purchase. So I walk into the AD, they bring out the watch, and it's in one of those little tiny watch coffins, as I call them. Not the big luxurious boxes that they give them to you, and just that little tiny box that they get them in the mail by. So they let me check it out, and man, was that thing sharp, brand new, right from the factory, ready to purchase. So I tell them I'm still interested and I'm going to buy the watch. They start sizing it. Definitely a bucket list thing for me to do is walk into a Rolex authorized dealer and buy a Rolex brand new. However, I did expect a little more ass kissing, and the only reason I did is because a buddy of mine last year, he went into an authorized dealer and he bought a Tudor. He bought the Tudor with the PVD coating on it, really sharp looking watch. But when he bought his, they busted out the bubbly, told him congratulations, a lot of ass kissing there. However, the difference between the Tudor and the Rolex two-tone bluesy sub 2020 version is that this was going to sell in a matter of days. And maybe the Tudor hangs around for a little bit, so maybe they make a bigger deal about it when you buy a watch like a Tudor, or maybe when you buy something like a Breitling, or even an Omega. But I think with a watch like this, they're just like, here you go, Charlie. There's your Rolex. Congratulations. Don't get me wrong. I am certainly not complaining about the amount of ass kissing. I am just saying there is a difference between what I expected and what I received. I mean, to walk into an authorized dealer and buy a Rolex that's already worth more than you're paying for it right there is amazing enough. So while the watch was getting sized, I had a lot of time to chat with the sales lady. So I'm chatting with the sales lady and I'm looking at the Rolex case and there's just nothing in there. There's nothing. There's no Submariners, even in solid gold. There's no GMT Master 2s, even in solid gold. There's no Daytonas, even in solid gold. There is like nothing. No Explorer 2s, nothing. The only thing they had was a couple ladies' watches and they had a couple of two-tone Datejusts. That's it. And there's even some ladies' watches that they didn't have in that case. I mean, there was like 4 cases, pow, 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 and there was only like maybe 9 watches in all 4 cases kind of spread out. Ridiculous. I mean, that is pretty much the way it's been since 2018. But you used to be able to see the Smurf in there. You used to be able to see a solid gold GMT Master. You used to be able to see a two-tone bluesy sub in those cases. Now, nothing. I mean, that is part of the reason why I got the idea to buy this watch. I figured I could get it for a little under retail, still find it relatively new, and of course it would hold its value. But I ended up scratching off that thing on my bucket list, walking into a retail store and buying one brand new. Fair enough. I also asked the sales lady to get on that list to buy a Daytona, and she pretty much told me that the stainless steel Daytona is only available for the best of their customers. Kind of what I expected, but I did ask, how many of those Daytonas do you even get in a month? And she said maybe 1. So that means they're getting less than 1 of these a month on average. You're talking maybe 10 Daytonas a year from authorized dealers. That's super slim. So no wonder a $12,500 watch is selling for $27,000 on the gray market. It's just amazing they even get on the gray market. It was pretty clear that I wasn't going to be able to get on that stainless steel Daytona list. Meanwhile, the fiance's got a Rolex on that I just bought her, by the way. I have a stainless steel Submariner on, and I'm in there dropping 15 grand, and it's like, not enough to get a Daytona. Pretty unbelievable. Overall, it was a fantastic experience, and I am fortunate to be able to find one of these for retail when they are selling for a couple $1,000s over retail, but I'm not going to be selling this one. It's going in my collection. I got the black dial Submariner, I got the two-tone bluesy Submariner, and I have that white dial Datejust. That's a very nice 3-piece Rolex collection. And I want to mention too, not only am I fortunate to be able to find one of these for retail or whatever, I'm also fortunate to be able to have the money to walk into a Rolex authorized dealer and buy something like this and walk right out of there. Side note real quick, I did call 2 credit card companies with the limit I have to buy one of these things on there, and I tried to get 1% extra cash back just so I could save a little more on that sales tax. And maybe instead of just getting 1% off the watch, I could get 2% or 3% off the watch. Put that towards the bill, cashback or whatever, then pay it off, save just a little bit of money. And they were both like, nope. I remember talking to Amex telling them, listen, I'm betting you money, literal money, that I can't pay this off in a month. And you're going to say no to 1%. But come on, you have a limit like that. They know you can pay it off. So whatever, I saved the 1%. I get to put this into my collection. I will be showcasing this watch eventually. But like I said, things in my personal life are a little hectic right now. But I will be showcasing it, reviewing it for you guys, telling you guys all about it. But man, what a sharp looking piece. Goes well with the jewelry that I have, and it goes well in my watch collection. The only one I'm not going to really be wearing very often is probably that Captain Willard because it is so old. And I won't be wearing this one a whole lot either right now. I haven't worn it much at all, really. It just sits in that case, or it sits in the winder like a trophy, which I'm pretty proud of. Not to sound like a total douchebag. And that wraps it up for this episode of It's Complicated. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please like, share this video. If you don't like the video, if you don't like me, dislike the video for all I care. It actually helps me out anyways. And I'll see you next time on another episode of It's Complicated.